Hi, Victor. What else would AI be able to do right now that most people wouldn't have thought about?
Okay, cool question. Maybe I'll start with some of the things, broad topics that people do think about with AI. You've probably gone, if you use memes and GIFs, you've probably gone online and used an AI generated meme generator. Not super sophisticated AI, but pure AI. Same thing with deepfakes, as you might imagine, whether it's voice or it's the actual movement and like the visual part of it. You've probably seen like some of the Obama ones because he talked a lot and there's a lot of actual video of him. They've done it. There's Trump. And usually people do it with celebrities. They're not generally going to do it with somebody like me. Yeah, but speaking of celebrities, you can, and it has been done, where you'd feed the AI a data set of like famous people and it can generate new celebrities, and you look at them and like, we're humans and we know who celebrities are and who are not celebrities generally if you know pop culture a bit. That's like Western pop culture. But you look at them, you're like, oh my God, like, do I know these people? Because these celebrities look like they would be real celebrities. Wait, is that like somebody that I should know? So yeah, it can do that. Like we said, it can make art in an artist's style. If you said you wanted an artist of some sort, it could mimic that artist. It can mimic musicians as well. Given enough data set and enough knowledge, it could very well create recipes, and it does create recipes. There are many recipes that are driven by it, but obviously it can't taste. So like the part of this is going to be a good recipe still ends up on humans, and it generally could end up pretty bad, and it has at times ended up pretty bad. Just YouTube a bunch of them, like AI generated recipes. You'll see there's some, like, I think there was a brownie one that for some reason they put cayenne in or something, because
gross.
chocolate and cayenne can go together, I guess. Then of course, I mean, it can generate images, as you might imagine. I don't mean like it's just going to generate them because you created an AI that just generates image. I literally mean you can say the interface with AI is language, and you can say, I want a red bird perched on a branch with a gray belly and a short beak, and it just generates that picture for you. It can do that with emails. I mean, you could generate, Google does this actually a lot right now. It has like canned responses or answers based on the prior email. So it's a little bit of AI and a little bit of decision flow support of sorts, but automation, still AI. The one that we talked about, generating code and generating SQL, that one has been done. I think the first people to do it were actually Baidu, so like the competitor to Google in China. And I think like in 2017, 2018 or something, they created AI that, like a GAN, that largely you could ask it for the kind of method or kind of function that you want, or to create a database for you, or queries for that database by just asking it. So it's like, I need a database who's going to store user models with locations and departments and a hierarchy. And it's not, once you've done it many times as a developer, that's not hard to do. But when you're new, it'd be awesome to just say that and all of a sudden out comes code and like your project started. Who else? OpenAI has done a bunch of stuff with generating code, generating SQL, and like the models keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger around language and text, that it understands more and it can generate more. And that's where we live as well as Babel, is the understanding and generation of all kinds of content and text. So the more that we can benefit from these huge companies doing awesome research, and then my smart people ingesting that research and putting it into our product, the better. So that's where we are with, I guess, AI generating things that we didn't think were possible. It's kind of cool, it's kind of scary. Like, I'm not really that scared of it because I kind of understand what goes into it. But I mean, you could have it that it has sort of a runway process and starts creating things that you don't want it to create, or doing things you don't want it to. And there will be a place where you have to safeguard your company, your AI, or whatever it is, you're gonna have to safeguard it. So yeah, I mean, it's largely going to be really cool, especially because academics tend to do kind of like fun things with images and music. And I mean, the big thing is like autonomy, right? So autonomous driving, autonomous flying, autonomous whatever. And a lot of also happens because of GANs. So like think of Waymo, which is Google's self-driving initiative that they have been running, I think, for several years now in Arizona. Every time they drive, they obviously gather a ton of data about environment, other traffic, all this other stuff. The problem is it doesn't give you a representation of every possible traffic situation ever. So what they do, or what they can do, I don't know exactly what they do, but what they could be doing and what would be smart is you use a GAN and you have a generator sort of create all the traffic possibilities. So let's say you're the Waymo car, you arrive at an intersection, and it's just a normal intersection, nothing bad going on, but there's like 5 cars. So there's, so many possibilities of bad things that could happen in that intersection. So generally in the real world, it doesn't. That's kind of like the nice thing, is that people are weary and they kind of respect the laws mostly. But what if you lived in a completely lawless world? Because we're going to hold our autonomous movement systems, AIs, all that stuff, to a way higher standard than we hold people. Like, every day people kill people with cars. And there's never this like huge, oh my God, another person died from a car accident. It's just kind of like a passing thing. Somebody died in a car accident. Now, whenever an AI even like doesn't kill somebody, but like has a minor fender bender where it costs $50 to fix that problem, it's like headline news and a big deal. So because we're holding it to such a high standard, it's going to have to learn to drive in the worst conditions possible so that the normal conditions are super easy. And that's the thing, is Waymo and all these autonomous driving companies end up driving, well, their brains, so like the AIs that are embedded therein, end up driving the equivalent of like millions of human years of driving every several days or every several, whereas we drive, in a week, we drive a week's worth of driving. So we obviously will never ever be able to keep up with the way that a Waymo or another autonomous driving company will drive in the future, and how they can avoid accidents and see them before they happen, and have seen situations that we would never even think of. So that's the advantage of having creative AIs that can generate things that we wouldn't normally have in an environment. So there we have it, a kind of fun episode all about creating with AI and having as many adversarial networks as possible, creating art, music, code, deep fakes, all that stuff.